Hello and welcome to another episode of the Expert CPG Commerce Podcast. My name is Ryan Flynn, the founder and CEO of Expert CPG Commerce, where we help brands reach more customers on Amazon and beyond. And today I'm super excited to welcome Nancy Henger from Brilliant Fulfillment on the show. Brilliant Fulfillment is a fulfillment center located just outside of Dallas-Fort Worth Airport in Texas, and they help brands in the beauty and CPG and food space with their fulfillment. Not only they can do help with Amazon, FBA, FBM obviously, but they can also do a lot of D2C and shipping to retail clients, customers as well. So Nancy's going to delve into all that and tell us about how I started a fulfillment company and some good practical advice for brands as they're looking to either engage with the fulfillment company for the first time or maybe make the switch to a new one. And if you're a brand and you're on Amazon and you're just trying to figure out, am I doing everything I could be on Amazon? Or maybe I'm a new brand and I'm not yet on Amazon. How do I get started with everything? We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to see if we can help you. You can just go over to expertcpg.com and you can schedule a call with us there. We'd love to just, again, have it be informational and tell you about either our account management offerings and how we can show you with an audit everything you could be doing on Amazon. Or again, if you're a new brand to Amazon, maybe you've been in the marketplace for a couple of years, you're ready to tackle Amazon, but you don't want to mess it up or do it wrong. We see that happen sometimes. We'll just show you about how we can help with that as well. So let's go to expertcpg.com. All right, let's get on to the show today with Nancy Henger from Brilliant Fulfillment. Nancy, thanks so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. We're honored to be asked to do this with you, Ryan.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to talk about all things fulfillment, your background. I know we got introduced through a mutual connection, a client that we both share, and they had great things to say about their 3PL, about who they work with. And like you don't hear that a lot in the industry. And so I said, oh my gosh, I have to meet these people. And I know we had a couple calls and spoke, and I said, you'd love to hear your take and obviously your background and obviously how you guys view fulfillment and how you do things. So that's kind of what I want to jump into today. But I guess before I go any further, just give us a quick synopsis of Brilliant Fulfillment and what you guys do and your offerings.
So we are a fulfillment center, and I love to say we're like Amazon, except we're only bigger than Amazon, but not really. You don't go on to Amazon to get the items that we ship necessarily. We are a third-party shipper from Amazon, but for instance, if you have a brand and a shopping cart, we would connect directly to the brand's shopping cart. So as you go onto the brand's cart and place the orders, they come directly to us, and then we ship them out for you, for the brand. And we take all of their products here in our air-conditioned facility or temperature-controlled facility, and we really specialize in packaging it the way that you want the consumer to see it instead of, I think that's a big differentiator when you're trying to do real specific marketing and branding, and you want the ultimate surprise for the consumer when they receive it at home. And that's what we do. If you want it wrapped in purple tissue or green tissue, that's kind of a big differentiator besides something you would just store at Amazon and have Amazon ship out versus what we do. It's geared very specifically for brands. We also, though, house all of the products. So if you're shipping B2B also, we would ship your products to Walmart and CVS and Target. We're EDI compatible. And so we do both B2B and D2C. So that's kind of what a fulfillment center would do for a brand.
Yeah, yeah. And you started the business, you started the fulfillment center. I mean, what led you to, what was like the pain point or me? You know, go about a little bit of your backstory and your history in business and such. And what led you to start the business?
Well, I had done business with warehouses before in my previous company. For 26 years, I was in the printing industry. And so we would ship POP materials and printed goods to stores such as Pearl Vision stores, Metro PCS stores. And so I knew that fulfillment centers or warehouses would put together all of these materials in different kits and ship them out to the stores. And so
Mm-hmm.
that is what my familiarity was in warehousing. And the warehouse that we used wasn't always clean and it wasn't always
Mm-hmm.
pristine. And so when the CEO that I was with for 26 years, he passed away suddenly.
Mm.
And I decided I would venture out on my own and start a different type of company because printing was kind of going by the wayside with Vistaprint coming online and things of that nature. It was kind of a dying breed for what we were doing. And so I decided that I would go into the warehouse industry because if they could do it, I could, but it could be clean and it
Yeah.
could be a real pristine environment per se, and
Mm-hmm.
really take care of people's products and really have a lot of heart and taking care of their makeup and skincare line. So that's why we went into an air conditioned facility. At the time, there was no air conditioned warehousing in Dallas. And when you
Mm.
have 100-degree heat in Dallas, other warehouses keep their dock doors open all day. So you've got all that dust and dirt coming in, but you have to for employees and whatnot. And so anyway, I decided I would do something different and air condition a large facility. And so that's how we got started and went to approach the skincare companies and the different brands that needed the temperature controlled environment so that
Mm-hmm.
their products don't separate in the heat. So yeah, so that's how we got started and doing protein powders and things of that nature, because in this Dallas heat, everybody wants to be in Dallas because it is the center of the United States and it takes,
Yeah.
travel time to the north and east and west is a lot quicker than being
Mm-hmm.
in other parts of the country. So yeah, that's why we chose Dallas and air conditioning, and that's how we got started.
Yeah, that's great story. And I mean, you started what in like 2013 was it? So like you were like really at the end. I mean, you kind of started with probably, I mean, really the infancy of really D2C and that growing. Is that right? Like you kind of came up along with a lot of brands that needed those capabilities. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes. Very fortunate. I don't know that I would like to say I was some brilliant visionary that could see the future, but I would be lying. I
Well,
just think I saw a need for air conditioned warehousing. That
mhm,
was the need that I saw. It wasn't all this D2C filament that was going to blow up
yeah,
during COVID. And I saw the need for cleanliness, honestly. Just really having a different type of environment, woman owned. And yeah, I mean, that's the need I saw. It wasn't like saw all this D2C coming down the
yeah. No, I
pipe.
got you. I mean, any good business it solves a problem, right? And like that's exactly what I think what you sounded like you set out to do
Yeah.
is like again cleanliness, like especially when you're giving someone a tour, right, of a like prospective client, like you don't want them to see number one feel the heat,
Well,
Texas in
that
July,
their products are dirty. That
right,
was the
right,
biggest thing. When we would go to our other warehouse, I'd be like, you got to dust everything off before you could ship it out. So
yeah,
yeah, it was. And then I would say during COVID, we were growing very steadily year by year. But then COVID, we just really blew up because the
yeah,
need became really great. Yeah.
yeah. How
Um,
did you guys navigate? I mean, like again, like it's no one had a global pandemic on their bingo card, as I like to say. Like no one could have foresaw that happening and what it did. I mean, I think it accelerated e-commerce a lot. Then there was a little hangover from it too, and after a couple years after, how did you guys navigate that as a business, as a company, with all these different demands? Probably not only current clients, but people probably wanting to come to you and get on board. How did you guys juggle all that?
I will say it made life very interesting, never having to go make a cold call because the
Mhm,
phone
yeah.
rang very often every day.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so, I mean, and we moved in everybody that we could. And thank goodness, right about that time, we had just moved into a larger building.
Mm.
We kept growing and growing inch by inch. And we had just signed a 5-year lease on a brand new big building. So we were able to take in everybody that really needed help. I don't know that we really denied anybody of storage and shipping. We shipped out millions of masks and gloves and
Mm,
things of that nature. Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah.
very grateful that we had the space. And again, I didn't get a big building because I had this some visionary, that I was going to need it.
Uh,
It's just all fallen into place with a lot of prayer, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like I said, timing is a big thing in business, and there's some destiny in there too, for sure.
Yeah.
One of the things that struck me, like we heard before we actually met, and I heard about you, and you mentioned it when we first chatted, was I think your guys's level of like customer service and how you interact with your customers. Can you explain that a little bit? Maybe what people are used to seeing in other fulfillment centers or third party
Well,
logistics providers.
yeah. So, Ryan, as this industry started to explode, we just stayed very focused. I just really believe in customer service. I grew up with customer service. I get very frustrated when I can't get a hold of somebody when I'm shopping anywhere.
Yep.
And so I've just always had that be a main focus. If you need me on the weekend, I was going to meet you at the warehouse and still will if you need anything. So you're keeping someone else's life in your hands, honestly.
Yeah.
Somebody invests hundreds of thousands of dollars in their product and they want to know that they can get to it easily, that somebody is going to be taking care of it for them, that when we have out of state customers, I don't hesitate to FaceTime with them to show them, hey,
Mm,
here's all your stuff. We just got in a new box of something and this is a different
mm,
color. Did you mean for it to be this time? And so really being someone's eyes and ears and taking that customer service to the next level is
mm.
really what we're about. We have 4 people that work under my customer service, client service director, and they have years of experience. We answer emails in 1 to 2 hours. You don't put in a ticket and wait for a response for 48 hours. And I
Yeah.
know that's the way of the world these days, and people kind of got used to that. But I just don't think that me and my team will ever be used to that. That's just not what we're based on. We thrive on customer service. And you can call us 24/7 and we are going to take that call and make sure that we help you because again, it's your livelihood that we're keeping. And that's
Yeah.
important to me.
Yeah.
We just take it very seriously. Yeah. And I think that's our differentiator. That's again part of the heart that I like to think that we have this day and age in a company that lots of other companies just don't operate like that anymore. And I get it. It's just not who we are.
Yeah. Well, and you've done an amazing job. If you can, sounds like you've done a nice job of scaling. It's one thing to start out that way, right? Is it a business, especially when you're doing a lot of the work yourself as the founder
Yeah.
and owner, right? And I get that. I've been there, but it's another thing, a whole other thing to scale that, right? And
Yep.
scale that with people and clients, and
Yep.
it's pretty rewarding when it does work, right? And it does. You start to see the fruits of it, and you're not having to do all the work yourself. So,
That's right.
um,
And I
let
still
let
will do all the work if I need to.
right, you'll jump in. You'll
There's
jump.
probably not a day that goes by that I'm not back there making sure something is happening or did this
Yep.
happen. I just really keep a close pulse on everything. But yeah,
Hmm.
scaling customer service is not easy and it's costly. But again, it's just I don't see it ever happening any other way, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're talking to potential clients that are looking to use your services, like what are some of the things that you advise or you see, or maybe that brands don't look for that they should look for? Like what kind of things should brands look for in a fulfillment company? Because I mean, you've already mentioned something that sets you apart, like cleanliness and customer service. I mean, those are two huge ones. Are the other big factors? I mean, obviously there's cost and that's one factor, right? But like what are the main things that brands should kind of pay attention to, either maybe engaging for a fulfillment center for the first time or maybe looking to move fulfillment centers?
Well, that's a great question. And that, of course, depends on if the brand is really funded. Just so many people have a great idea and
Hmm.
take it and run with it and invest their own retirement funds in it, et cetera. And those are the people that I would say, when you start shipping 10 to 20 orders a day and you're doing it
Hmm.
yourself, that's probably the time that you want to reach out and get fulfillment done for you, because you've really got to keep your eye on the ball for your own
Yeah.
growth. And fulfillment's a whole different world, and it's a whole different industry all its own, especially as far as freight goes. And when you're running yourself ragged every day, dropping off all your shipments to UPS and USPS, that's when you've got to reach out and get somebody else. If you're fully funded, a lot of people like to start right off the bat in a fulfillment center because they
Hmm.
have the funds to do that. And they like to get all set up and squared away. And they plan on dropping hundreds of orders within a matter of 8 to 12 weeks when the product
Hmm.
arrives. And that
Hmm.
happens sometimes. It's not as often as as people would like, but we take it either way. I think one thing that I really like to explain to brands, when they go and they get into these retail scenarios, they'll meet with
Yeah.
Sephora, Ulta, Nordstrom's, and Neiman's. Those people want to hear that you've got more
Yeah.
SKUs coming down the line. And so then the brand kind of panics and starts focusing on other SKUs. And I really try to get them to tap the brakes, because
Uh-huh.
you really need that hero product. There's something to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
said about having 1 or 2 SKUs that are just blowing up and doing well first.
Yeah.
Then you can go and focus on 3 and 4 other things. And I think that retailers get them sidetracked too quickly to make that happen. That'll come, but you've just spent your life savings on making this great differentiated product.
Yeah.
So focus on that, get that off the ground. And when that blows up, people are going to want your brand no matter what it is. And you'll be able to do that in your back pocket. That'll happen. So that's my recommendation to brands. Wait until you're shipping 10, 20 orders a day,
Hmm.
um, and focus on your main SKU, what got you into the business to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah. And to piggyback on what you just said there with working with retailers and larger retailers, especially, they are talking about the excitement of like, yeah, what's to come, right? But what they probably are bad at, and they don't do it probably maliciously, but they just forget, is they probably forget to the brand of like, you've got to do everything well with your hero with your main hero products, right? And that includes supply and distribution, right? Because you've probably seen it happen with brands that maybe haven't yet worked with you or don't work with you, where they try to either do it themselves or they go with an inexperienced provider where they can't meet the supplier's demands in terms of delivering product, right? And that can be a big hang up. And that we've seen that happen with brands before too. If you can't meet those, requirements of those retailers to stay stocked and stay on the shelf,
Yeah,
they'll kick you out, and there'll be no future products on the pipeline, right?
that's so true, Ryan. I mean, it's a big learning curve if
Mhm.
you don't have all those players on your team. And so that is another thing that we do offer. We have the people with the experience that
Mhm.
understands what the retailers are looking for. And a good
Mhm.
fulfillment partner should be able to help guide you with that. And
Mhm.
yeah, very good point. You definitely, and I have seen it, fail. And you don't want to do that too late. It's great. Again, it's great for you to get started on your own, But the minute you start to see that turn, you've got to have that fulfillment center ready to go and vetted out and be ready to hand all that off so that you don't fail those retailers, because they don't take any prisoners, as we say.
Yeah.
They start dinging you those fees immediately when things show up incorrectly.
Yeah, it's exciting when you're shipping packages. A little bit of excitement when you're doing things yourself, like, oh my gosh, look at these orders we're fulfilling and shipping. But I don't know. To me, that weighs off pretty quickly, because like it's like you're walking into the office or the warehouse, wherever it may be, and it's like, hey, I've got a million and one other things to do, but I also got to ship these 10 to 20 packages, whatever, per day, right? And you're just like,
Right.
if you're not hiring somebody else out to do that, or using the right partner like a Brilliant Fulfillment, then you're really doing yourself and your business a disservice, because you're not able to take your time, and really it's headspace as well, and
That's
devote
right.
that to grow in other parts of your business.
Yeah,
So when someone's
that's right.
looking to get set up with like a Brilliant Fulfillment, like walk me through like your onboarding process. Like what does that look like when you guys bring on a new client, in terms of everything from understanding the products, and then like getting stuff in the warehouse, and like being ready to ship, and what does that
Ready to
timeline
go.
look like?
So we have already gone through the proposal stage and the contract day,
Mhm.
and it really doesn't take that long to get set up. Honestly, it's a lot quicker
Mhm.
than you would think. I've literally had somebody call me from a lab and say, "Oh my God, this other deal didn't go through. I now
Mhm.
have product ready. Can you please take it and start shipping it?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." So it shows up here. Within 24 to 48 hours, we get it into our system. We train you on how to use our system. It's very friendly. You can go into the back end of the system and check your inventory, check your shipments. Where did they ship? How did they ship? The tracking numbers, of course, when we're connected to your shopping cart, they push back out
Mhm.
to the consumer. But anyway, we get your products, we get them in inventory, we connect to your shopping cart, and we have a whole plethora of carts that we connect to. The main one of today's world is Shopify, but there are
Yep.
others. And unless it's special programming, which we do ship for MLMs as well, and those
Mm.
systems are a lot more complex and do take an extra amount of time to get set up. Like, but usually within a couple of weeks is how long that takes. But a shopping cart will take less than a week to do the
Mm.
connection. And once that happens and we're connected, you're off to the races. People place orders and we go. So I would say 3 days is a really short amount of time, and a week
Mm.
is a long amount of time. So it can happen very quickly. And like I said, then the training takes place. We show you how the system works and how to check everything and go into the system yourself, especially if you want to place your B2B orders, because your
Mhm.
B2B clients wouldn't be going onto your cart and placing their orders. You would place their orders for them. And it's very simple.
It's nice that they can happen that quickly, right? Especially if someone's, again, sometimes you're like, hey, we get the product created. Now it's like, okay, now what's the next step? It's got to go somewhere
Yep.
and be
And
somewhere. So we have it. So these different channels.
hopefully they've come and done a tour at that
Hmm.
point. Now, I do have an Australian client that signed up with us this past summer, and he hasn't visited yet, and he's coming in 2 weeks. And
Nice. Yeah.
so,
I was gonna say, you guys are right outside the DFW airport, right? Is what you told
yes,
me. So you're right by the airport. So very easy to get to, right?
very easy to get to. There, we joke, if I'm driving, it takes about 7 minutes. If one of my other people are driving, it's probably about 12. It doesn't say much for my driving,
Eh, well, I guess that's
but we are not
you have,
far from DFW Airport, depending on who the driver is.
nice. Very
So
nice.
yeah,
Very
he'll
nice.
come and visit and tour. We did a virtual tour with the cell phone, and we took him FaceTime and showed him what all it
Yeah.
looked like. And of course, he signed up. We've been shipping his product, but we're happy that he's going to come and meet us and visit us.
Yeah, that's great. Talk to me a little bit about once a brand gets in and gets going and they're shipping product, both D2C and maybe some B2B. Talk to me about like some other things that happen. I mean, we talked before we started recording. We're recording this in early January, so we got return season now, right? So it's like, talk to me about those, like kind of. Well, I would say those are unknown or unplanned, but it's just like these things that, or maybe like breakage or spoilage or damage or whatever, and maybe outside of fulfillment's purview. Talk to me about some of those kind of, I don't know, things that maybe aren't at the top of
Challenges.
brands' minds. They're
Yep.
real important.
Yep. So we follow whatever the brand, whatever their return policies are, is what we
Hmm.
follow. And they all vary, quite frankly. But we definitely have a returns department. It's an entire department. And so a lot of the brands want us to open the box and check the package. And if it hasn't
Hmm.
been touched at all, we do return it back to inventory. But a lot of times this is a QC process. And quite frankly,
Yeah,
returns take longer than shipments, than the actual order itself. So they are
sure.
costly. It's a time consuming challenge that we have. The brands want to know and get it recorded quickly. Did that person ship back that box? Because if they did, I need to give them credit. If
Yeah.
they didn't, or you don't have it yet, I'm not giving them a credit. So it's very challenging for both parties. You have to keep
Okay.
up with them and call through them often so that the brand knows what we've gotten. Again, we are a total extension of their company. I
Mm,
mean, without somebody that cares and does all this work for you, you can't continue operations, right? So you
right.
really have to be very picky about your partner. But brands are a challenge. And unfortunately, and fortunately for the consumer, I think Target and Amazon, they've all kind of started the just keep it, we'll ship you out another one. That's kind of the bad news for the brand because people take advantage of that. Um, we don't, I don't advocate doing that. I say maybe do it once, but you need to be keeping a spreadsheet on your end about which of your clients do this consistently so that
Yeah.
you know keep shipping back out to them for free.
Yeah.
Um, so they do have challenges that they face. If they've opened the product and didn't like it, you sure don't want to pay to ship it back to us because there's nothing you can do with it. We're going to take it and throw
Yeah.
it away. Some brands do that though because they don't want the consumer to keep using it if they have credited it. But I think most brands these days say, "Hey, give it to your mother, let your grandmother try it, give it to a friend. If you didn't like it, maybe they'll like it and thank you and we'll credit you and sorry." But again, that's for the brand to really keep track of so that those certain people don't take advantage of that.
What about when it comes down to like, if we think of just packaging at the highest level, you just think about shipping like D2C orders of putting a product in a box and shipping it. But there's a lot that goes into that, like package design and not only package design, but like shipping design too, because I'm sure, especially with cosmetics, you're probably dealing with maybe some liquids. I know you're doing like some liquid products and like glass. And so talk to me about like, do you guys get involved with that on helping the brands strategize around, hey, oh, you're packaging it this way now, but we've seen this work, or have you thought about doing this? Is there some, because I know you guys do a lot of multi packs and like bundling as well. So talk to me a
Yes.
little bit about that.
Yeah, we absolutely do. A lot of the times the products need to be in glass because they don't work well. They react differently in plastics and things of that nature. So
Hmm.
shipping glass is more expensive, freight wise and fulfillment wise, packaging wise.
Hmm.
But we do a lot of that. And we do talk to them about it. If you don't have to do this, a lot of times they vetted that out on their own front end, of course, themselves. But yes, we do offer kitting and we do suggest, hey, we're shipping these 3 items all the time. Why don't we go ahead and kit them
Hmm.
first? That
Yeah.
way you're only paying for one pick fee instead of 3 picks, saving them money where we can and helping them out. Lots and lots of kitting goes on, honestly. Shipping, they want them in special boxes, or for instance, we will get 100 of the same product in one day. So that client, that brand will get 100 orders of one item, which is
Mm.
exactly what everybody wants. And so we'll go ahead and package those out in our kitting department and put them in their branded boxes and get them ready to go so that when they do have those orders, we're just slapping on a label and off they go. So, yeah, we definitely are participate in those conversations with the brand, they really do come and ask us, is it beneficial for us to have our own tape, our own labels? A lot of things that we do here, we do have a system that will print out individual postcards with their name on it. Dear so-and-so, we see this is your second order. We would like to give you a 10% discount for your third order. We do ship specific postcards out to a specific consumer. We have that technology. We also have the technology. We have cameras at every shipping station so that when somebody does call and say, hey, a consumer will call the brand and say, I ordered these 3 items and I only got 2. Well, we can go back and look on the camera, pull up that very specific order and send them a snippet, a clip of us packing that order. And we can say, no, you got all 3 products. I'm sorry. So we have really, the brands are really into that. That's new technology. We've had it for about 9 months. We have saved brands thousands of dollars with that technology. Yeah. And we're not perfect. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes we go, oh, we didn't put that bottle in there. And which is great because then we know which of our people are doing a great job and who needs more training. And so it's excellent technology. And your fulfillment partner, I highly recommend your fulfillment partner to have that technology.
That sounds great. Yeah. From different standpoints, as you mentioned. Is there one, maybe a warm spot in your heart, Nancy, of a client you've helped over the years that came to you, maybe in a dire situation, maybe not, but came to you in one thing, you've helped them grow and things like that, where if something that comes to mind, a success story?
Wow. Ryan, that's great question. You made me think of a problem, actually. One of our clients had a recall on a product because, like I said, we do food products here, and they had a recall on a particular lot number. And because we're lot number driven, we were able to pull up and send them a report within 20 minutes of every consumer that received that lot number of that product. And they were blown away. And of course, we say that can happen, but it really never happens that often. And so when this happened and they were able to reach out to their 1,500 clients immediately that got that lot number, they were so appreciative and grateful. So I would say that was a huge win for us, if you will, and for them as well. Yes, I have seen lots of growth for several different clients. I don't know if I should mention a brand or not. I didn't.
Yeah, you don't have to mention a name. I know it's like choosing your favorite children. I know you don't want anybody out.
I didn't get their permission either to say,
I got you.
Can I talk about you on my podcast? But yes, there has been a wonderful hair care product that just absolutely blew up, that we really helped and assisted getting through all of the EDI ins and outs. And I think they will tell you, without our assistance and in all of that navigation that had to be done, they wouldn't be where they are in Sephora and Ulta and Target actually today. And it has been a lot of fun. They were a startup. They've been here now about 4 years, maybe 5. And I mean, from the get-go, it was just little by little and inch by inch, they were able to really blow it up, as they say in the industry. And that doesn't mean a bad thing anymore. Blow it up.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a good thing. Definitely a good thing. Well,
let me see. So that we help blow them up with EDI. With the this day and age, I have helped guide people with marketing. They shouldn't be paying a ton of money for their TikTok people. And lots of people want to say that it's going to cost you a lot of money. And again, it's just inch by inch and doing the Google Analytics and figuring out who your target market is. And I have helped guide some brands from marketing companies that really have, I hate to say taken advantage of brands, but there's lots of people that know what they're doing and lots of people that say they know what they're doing that have not been successful. So my advice there is to really make sure you're with a marketing company that has blown up some other brands. And it's a process. You can't expect to ship a brand new product into a fulfillment center and have it blow up in 60 to 90 days. That's just not very realistic. I did have a brand that they thought that's how it was going to happen. They're a great brand. It's a couple of ladies that invented a wonderful lipstick, and they were limping along. They were doing okay, but they just realized, well, we really weren't ready for the fulfillment center. So they moved out. And a year later, they said, oh my gosh, we can't have this anymore. And now we ship hundreds of their brand a day.
Wow.
So that was a great success story. Again, it's a learning curve, and you got to learn what's working and what's not. And
yeah. It always feels good when we've had that happen before too with Amazon. People think they can, and Amazon's like an inch wide and a mile deep. There's so many things that are hard to do. Same thing with fulfillment. It's like you think it's a shipping products, but it's not. It's returns. It's everything. It's all the other little things, shipping, and like it's freight. It's all the stuff that, like, just again, you kind of going back to the earliest success story you mentioned. It's like finding the right partners, I mean, is a big part. I mean, not to take anything away from brands and the great products they develop and everything like that, but like another big key component of it is the partnerships and who you have on, and not just vendors. I know I could speak the same. I'm sure I could speak for you when I say this, is like, we view our clients as partners, and like, we're not just another vendor. We're in a relationship here, and it's a win scenario, right? We both want to win. So I think that goes to speak of like how you run the business and how you guys do things there at Brilliant Fulfillment. So,
well, Brilliant Fulfillment is BFF. And so that's how we started. I said, we're going to be your BFF. And we take that to heart. We really do. And I think they come to learn real quick. They weren't kidding. They really are my new BFF. We really are. You people like to say, oh, we're partners. No, what's a real partner do for you? We get in the nuts and bolts with you. We get in the weeds with you, and we're not dinging you to death with costs. I know we have done lots of research for lots of clients because they get hit all the time. Brands get hit up all the time with different freight people and freight services. And so they want us to go vet those out for them. And so we do a lot of vetting to make sure that we're on top of our freight costs all the time. And I'd say throughout the 11 years, we have had one of our big brands here has come and said, hey, we might want to look at this. And when they say we, they mean we are their freight people. So we go and vet out these resources, and we have switched resources because that brand, oh, hey, you're spot on. This is way better than what we had, because we are partners. And they don't always find us necessarily. They find a brand or they do find us. And so it's constantly navigating the best options for freight, whether it be LTL, whether it's USPS, UPS. I mean, there are lots of different freight services out there. And so, we're always having to stay on top of that. That is not an easy task. That is not easy.
Yeah, I'm sure the whole in the industry expertise you guys have is a big part of the value the brands are getting when they work with you. So that's a great transition there, Nancy, to wrap it all up here. How can people get in touch with Brilliant Fulfillment? How can they find out more about the services you guys offer?
How can I get some more BFFs is what you're saying?
Yeah, there you go. I love it. Yeah.
Well, they can call me directly on my mobile phone. I would say go to brilliantfulfillment.com, go to our website. And again, it's so funny because people are shocked. Once they fill out that customer sales tool that we have on there, it just asks for your address and phone number, and it asks 2 or 3 questions. Just fill it out. I get an email like that. and I'm
Yeah.
emailing you, or our customer service is emailing you, hi, and we start asking you questions. What is your brand? How
Hmm.
many SKUs do you have? How many pallets do you have? When are you looking to move? And then we'll hop on a call, and people are flabbergasted at how quickly we jump on those emails and say, wow, thanks for reaching out so quickly. So that's probably the best way. Just send an email right away and we'll get together.
Great. Awesome. Well, Nancy, you build an amazing business, and thanks so much for walking us through everything fulfillment center related and giving us a little peek behind the curtain and some good advice as well for brands that are looking to either engage the fulfillment center for the first time, maybe move fulfillment centers, what they should be watching out for. So thanks so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Well, Ryan, thank you again. Like I said, I'm very honored to be with you, and that you felt that we were qualified to do this. Very, very honored and excited about it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, that was an awesome episode today with Nancy Henger from Brilliant Fulfillment. Again, feel free to connect with her. Go to their website, fill out your information if you think you'd be interested in their services. And hopefully you get a lot of value from this episode and all of our episodes. The biggest thing we can ask is whatever platform you're leaving us on, leave a comment, rating, review, subscribe. Do one of those things, please. It helps grow the podcast. Maybe send the episode to a friend as well. And we will see you on the next episode of the Expert CPG Commerce Podcast.